Good morning, all. Hope you all guys are doing good. So in this video, we will be covering deployments via Terraform in the multi-environment. That means production, dev, test, UAT, or whatever the environment that you are specifying in for the deployment. So the prerequisites remain same. That means you should have Terraform installed on your system. Uh, a Google Cloud SDK installed, service accounts, and there were few others we will see when we would be doing the demo in a while. So what we will be covering here is we will be covering setting up a folder structure, a generic folder structure which may be used on case-to-case basis in your environments and according to the needs, um, according to your needs. Similarly, in the code that we're going to use, we will be showing how to call the modules from the main.tf, how to create the modules, and then usage of few functions in the code. So I will just hover on to the code, just a sec. So this is our folder structure. Just a sec. So this is my directory workspace.example. Okay. In this particular directory, I have placed this service account file, which is a JSON file created from Google Cloud Platform. You can watch my previous videos to see how it gets created. And in this, we will be using two codes. One is workspace example, and the second one is your deployment with modules. Purpose is same of both the the code is for both the codes. Only thing is that how we have bifurcated and used it into the different folder structure. So, so what is happening is if I go into the workspace hyphen example folder, right? So here I have specified the file structure. This is into all one file: backend.tf, network.tf, network firewall.tf, network variables.tf, provider, Terraform.tf vars, variables uh, hyphen auth.tf, then VM deployment tf, and this the output file. Forget about this. This will be created when you initialize the Terraform uh, uh, with the Terraform init command. It will use this. So now, what? Let's understand like what's in the code and how we are using it. I will hover on to my editor, and this is the directory. So the purpose of this particular code is to deploy the network uh, through this file. Then it will deploy your firewall rules in the uh, VPC, and this contains deployment of your VM instance. If you see here, then these are the variables for the authorization file where we have mentioned a few of the variables like authentication, app project, and app name. So I will come on to that like how we have specified. Similarly, there are network variables which have been specified in here. Provider.tf and this. So this is all generic. So here we are specifying the required version, which should be greater than equal to 0.12 of the Terraform, and also the Google provider, which it will use on the basis of these particular credentials. Credentials is nothing but a JSON file which we have specified. So let's first understand the network variables. Here, this is the backend.tf for specifying your remote state. Okay, this is the remote state where all the settings will go. It will store the desired state configuration of your infrastructure. So then in the network-variables.tf, where we are specifying the variable files. So we have generally used, right? I have all commented this portion, which is nothing but a string type of definition of the variables. So I have taken that out and I have specified the map variable in it, where I have specified variables, that is GCP region type map, and I have specified if nothing, no environment is specified. When I'm talking about the environment, I'm talking about the environment for deployment, like in test, production, dev, and all. I have just used dev and test here for the example. And for default, if nothing is specified, if it's a default workspace or if it's a default environment, it will take up US West one region, and accordingly I have specified regions for GCP zone, public subnet CIDR one. So if it's a default, it will deploy this one. If it's a dev environment, it will deploy this subnet. If it's a test, it will deploy this one. Here I have used only one project ID. If you have specified multiple projects, then you can also specify the project's ID in this way, in here or in here, whatever your choice is. Then we come to the network.tf code. Before I come into the network TF, let me also show you this particular variables file. This is basically for the instance or the VM.tf. So here, this is a sample thing. So where I have used a string type variable and a normal variable, and I have not specified any value in it because we have specified the value for our project in Terraform.tf vars, where you define the default value for both of these parameters. But for the other ones, I have used app name in the same way. It's a map, app domain, app environment. So these three I have defined in here. And I've given some value, like if it's a default, it will give app default. If it's a dev, it shows app dev. And if it's a test, it will use app name variable, app underscore name variable as app test. Similarly for app underscore domain and all. Then we, sorry, then we come on to the network.tf deployment, which will deploy your VPC. So this is a resource block, right? A resource Google underscore compute network. This is the name of the resource. That means in the file itself, but the actual name which will be deployed when you run the Terraform apply, it would be a combination of this. What it will do is, I have used a lookup parameter. Okay, now whatever the workspace that you define or you select in the Terraform, it will select it. Like if it's a dev, it will select dev. Then it will do a lookup and then it will combine it. You can just see that what lookup function does. Okay, onto the uh, Terraform URL or the website. Basically, in Terraform, you can specify, you can use the already created functions from Terraform. You cannot create your own functions. So here specifically for usage with the Terraform workspace, I have used this particular function, lookup function. So basically it works on the key value mapping. So whatever the workspace is, it uses it and it selects that particular, like if it would be a where.name app name and terraform.workspace. If it's a test workspace, then it will select the app name related to the test environment, and from where you can find it, it has been specified in here. So if it's a if it's a test workspace, it will select the name as app test. In this way, we will see like how when we will run the plan command. Similarly for this, uh, sorry, in network, so it will not create auto create networks subnets. So it's set to false. Routing mode is global. Then it will create a public subnet. Same thing I have used. Only thing is that I have appended this particular text or at the end. Then this is a in this resource block, like the subnet resource block, then there is a cider range. It's a property which is being used, and here also I've used the lookup function, which will be based on workspace. So everything is based on the workspace. So and similarly, then it's a allowing the internal ICMP rules. This have been set up. This is the block which has been created, which will be using uh, which will be creating the which will be allowing the traffic for ICMP, TCP, and UDP. And the source ranges is on the basis of workspace. Right? It's the source ranges is it's based on the workspace. Like whatever you use your workspace on that basis, the subnet or the CIDR range will be selected. So where you can see it, it's in here in this particular variable. It will pick it up on the basis of workspace here. So this is about the network. So similarly, you go into network hyphen firewall. So these rules have been created. Same format has been used in this way. It will create the firewall rules, and it would be allowing this particular ports and the target tags. You are using a tags of HTTP. Similarly in here, HTTPS, then 22, then 3389. If you are deploying a Windows box, then we come on to the vm.tf. Here, what it's gonna do is it will deploy an instance of type f1-micro. You can change it and you can specify it in the same way that you have been doing it. You can specify a variable with of type map, and you can specify your instance types on the basis of environments, and you can specify in here in this way. That means for example, if you want to do it, you just copy and paste it, and then you can just specify f1 hyphen something, then n1 hyphen standard, whatever, for the dev and for the test. So this is how it is, and the naming convention is same. It will use workspace to decide the name and concatenate the stuff, and it will give a name during the deployment. It will be deploying an Ubuntu 18.04 image, which is a marketplace from Google. It will pick it up and it will run one simple particular startup script which will deploy an Apache onto it, and it will use the network interface from the compute network, whatever the VPC is created uh, in these corresponding files. So output.tf, it will display a post deployment. It will display the public name of the VM, then its external IP and internal IP. And providers, we have already seen it. And in the Terraform TF vars, it contains two values for one project. Okay. So this is about the example. This is about the structure, how we use it. Now let's go in here and see like how it works, right? So here we are making use of the workspaces. So workspaces are nothing but a particular work area that you select. So you are using a single code, right? So using a single code. So I will just show you. So if you see in here, this is my code, right? Now what I am doing is I am selecting the environment. So or a workspace, which is nothing but a environment type or a kind of a work area where you specify your workspaces, and you select that workspaces. When you select that workspace, you go into that workspace, and whatever uh, you will be doing it, those environment variables will be created on the basis of workspace. For example, so this is the Terraform workspace command. So if you select in here, it will show you like you can use these 5 commands to use Terraform Workspace. So here, if I type show, it will show that I am currently in a dev workspace. Okay, and if I need to see the list, it will show that I have these workspaces. One is default, which will already be there, and you cannot delete a default workspace, or you cannot even delete a workspace in which you are already present. Like you cannot delete a dev workspace. For creating a new workspace, what you can do is you can use Terraform Workspace, new, then you can give a name, say prod. So it will say, so there would be 4 workspace and it will take you to the prod workspace. And if you need to go back to your select, I will come back to dev. So it will say it will have switched back to dev. If you an asterisk will come in front of dev. Anyways, so let's see and understand like what it does when we use the Terraform init. So we will initialize it. But for that you need to be into the directory where all your code is present. Terraform init. Sorry, my bad. So you will say it will initialize your backend, which is the remote state. So if you see, it will show you that it has when the first time you initialize, it will create your this directory. It will use the environment. It will use the plugins and all. Right, in this way. So it will download your plugins for your Google and your Terraform. A random thing, it will pick it up and it will download the plugins in here in the .terraform directory. This is the environment state, and this is the state which will be present on your Google Cloud storage. But it will also have a few local copy in here. So let me select, as I am into the dev workspace. So whatever we have selected, our values should be in reference to whatever has been specified in the variables, right? So if I am into the dev, whatever concatenation it should do for the deployment, it should have dev associated with it. We will see it now. So let's, I will use the Terraform plan. Now I'm in dev direct workspace, okay? So if you see what it is trying to do, it will say that 9 resources would be deployed, 9 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Okay. So let's try to understand it, like what it does. So if you see, it says that it will do the following actions. It will create the firewall rule, and what would be the name of the rule? It has all specified in here. It is using how it is using the concatenation. This is in the last, right? The firewall. This is the text. Name it is picking up is using the concatenation, using the lookup function, and what we specified into the code in here. This is the thing it is picking up. Right, just an example, just to have that we all are on the same page and you understand what is going on. Similarly, here also it's the same. So everything would be dev, and let's also check the name of the public the machine type F1 micro. So it will be common for all the environments F1 micro, but we can change it. Probably that code can be modified. Then you can also use in which zone it's gonna go. As it's a dev environment, we have specified that everything's gonna go, it would be into the US Central region, and the US Central one is zone, and the IP range would be 10.50. So it will pick it up as 10.50 as the range. You will just see it here. See, if you see in here, this subnet would be created, right? Great. Now let's check what it shows for the test. Let's switch over to the test workspace. We are into the test workspace, and if I do a Terraform plan, so everything is now test. Whatever variables, whatever will be created, it will be in that way with the same name, right? So here I'm just, and if you see the CIDR range is 10.16. So I'm not just going into the mood, and I will not be deploying it. Actually, I am just showing you in this particular video. So this is one thing. Now let's understand like how we can use it as modules and how you call it. So there is another directory, deployment with modules. So I have used it here. I will just minimize it. And if you see, I have used the same code, and I have created two modules. Okay, instance, the code is same, whatever we used earlier. In this way, I have made few adjustments. The code will be present. I can share it's on my GitHub. I can share it. So everything is same. Output, I have left it empty. Variables I have specified in here. Basically, I have specified all the variables in here. And similarly, there is network variables. I have specified all of them, 6 variables in there in the map format. This is VPC TF file, which is I have picked it from there only. So nothing different. And then there is network firewall, which is also the same. Now these are the two reusable assets. Now these would be one directory. Uh, it's in the same different directory modules. You can place it on GitHub, and you can just call it from the source which is specified into the mains. So here also, if you see backend is you specify, this is your main code that would be seen if you are a coder, and this you can put it in your common module repo, for example. So credentials, I have placed the JSON files to two directories above. So I've used this, and then in the main, if you see, I have used only this particular code. I'm just calling the module to deploy it on the basis of selected environment, right? On the basis of this, just it is calling two modules and it will do the job for you. So it's a reusable. So your actual code would be less because you are using a reusable code, and you can specify outputs as well. And I have defined an environment variable, whatever the environment it passes on that. Basically it doesn't pass on that as well. So even if you, I just used it, but it's up to you if you want to use it or not. This can be removed as well. So backend.tf, I have used another prefix, and everything in prefix would be created. So let me show you like on this as well. Here also I have three environments. I will just come out of this directory. So if you see, this is a folder specific. So if I am into this particular outside the folder, there is only default workspace. So let me go into uh, ls, then cd deployment with modules. So here if you do Terraform workspace, it will show you the three workspaces which is particular to this directory, which has to be created, which is not the right way. You can specify the variable in the pipeline and then use it, which is the right way. But this is also a way that can be used, and here you are not using a duplication of the code, but same code but for different environments. So here, if I go in here, we have specified, and if I use Terraform plan as I'm in the dev Terraform plan, no configuration files. Uh, am I into the right directory? Just a sec. Oh, sorry, my bad. So you need to go into the main folder. So now you run it because the code would be run from there. So it will do the same thing, and if you see, it will again create the 9 resources, but here we are using modules, and everything is on the basis of your environment. So this is about this video, and hope you have got the understanding of it, and hope you will like it. Thank you for watching.